Hey there, happy Halloween and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Batman Ghosts. This is the last Legends of the Dark Knight Halloween special by Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale before they would move on to working on The Long Halloween. DC Comics came out with this in 1995, and the interesting thing about this story, it is basically a Batman version of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, but it is set at Halloween instead of Christmas. And so inside the front cover here, we've got our credit list, and we also have a note here inspired by Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. So we've got Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale credited here as storytellers. And so, if you don't know, that's Jeph Loeb on writing and Tim Sale on the art, with colors by Gregory Wright and letters by Todd Klein. We also have Android Images listed as the color separator. Again, this is early days of computer coloring, so you would have somebody actually come in to kind of separate the colors. And so it's not real prevalent or, noticeable in this book as it would be in other titles around this time. But, you've got some bad 90s computer coloring done back then, as everyone's still trying to figure out this process and what it is. So the story starts out here. 'Twas the night before Halloween. We've got Bruce Wayne at this charity event where he's talking to Lucius Fox here, and they're serving shrimp, which will come up later. Then, of course, like any charity event in Gotham City, there's an explosion, and the festivities are interrupted by the Penguin. So the Penguin's here to rob the place. Again, it's the night before Halloween, so he's got sort of a trick-or-treat bag here in his hand. And we get, Tim Sale's real monstrous version of the Penguin here. But then he shoots Bruce Wayne out a window. And they make a note here of showing that Penguin steals this medallion from Lucius here. And then we have Batman showing back up, crashing through the window after Bruce Wayne was thrown out of one on the previous page. They do say here, Batman making this entrance is intentional. He wants to draw the Penguin's attention to himself and away from the bystanders. Then we have him just sort of laying out Penguin here. And Penguin jumps out the window. Batman chases after him. And we find out that Penguin has got a jetpack concealed underneath his coat. And Batman sort of ties his line to him. And then Batman grabs onto a gargoyle to stop Penguin and, ties him up here. We also see Batman here recovering the medallion that Penguin stole from Lucius. Now we cut back to Wayne Manor where Bruce is coming home, and we see the door knocker, and it has Bruce's father, Thomas Wayne's face over the door knocker for a second, and Bruce just chalks it up to him being tired. Then we have Alfred asking Bruce how the event went and asking about the menu. And we have Bruce talking about the shrimp here. And it's, disagreeing with him. Then we have him kind of tossing and turning in bed here. And he starts hearing these noises. And he looks up, and it's the ghost of his father in chains, like the Jacob Marley character in A Christmas Carol. So here we have his father giving him a warning not to waste the brief time that he has, and talking about these are the chains that he forged in life, again, directly from Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. I don't know if the metaphor works as well here for Thomas Wayne. He's wealthy, he's successful, and that kind of thing. I don't know that I necessarily view that character the same as, Jacob Marley, but again, this might be the best stand-in for that character in the Batman universe. He goes off saying that he'll be visited by three spirits, again, just like in A Christmas Carol. And so then after the ghost takes off, we see these vines kind of coming in and attacking Bruce Wayne, and now he wakes up and he's, in his Batman outfit. And we see Poison Ivy here, who is the first ghost that visits him this evening. And so this would be the ghost of Christmas past, if we're correlating with A Christmas Carol. Now, initially, Batman is saying that, you've poisoned me, you've invaded my home. Again, this is him kind of trying to rationalize the experience here of what's happening to him. And Poison Ivy shows him Halloween 15 years ago, where we've got a younger Bruce Wayne here dressed up like Zorro and disappointed that his father can't take him trick-or-treating because he has to work. And to kind of calm him down, his mother tells him that they can call his friends from school. And Batman points out that she doesn't know at this point, but he doesn't have any friends at school. Then we cut to Notre Dame in Paris. And so this is an incident when Bruce Wayne would have been training and kind of traveling the world. And we have the first instance where Bruce Wayne met Lucius Fox. So Lucius Fox is here and being mugged. And again, we have that same medallion showing up here. So apparently that's just sort of a target for muggers with Lucius Fox. But then we have Bruce Wayne, again, before he became Batman, kind of intervening here and saving Lucius and giving him the medallion back. Then it cuts to a meeting that they had where Lucius is trying to sell himself to Bruce Wayne about how he could help him with his finances and kind of do something with the Wayne fortune. But Bruce has decided that that money is already earmarked for something. We know that that is for his sort of crusade here to become Batman. And so that's why he turned down Lucius Fox at this point, because he already had plans for his money. Then we have Poison Ivy disappearing, and we have Bruce Wayne waking up in bed again, just sort of attributing this, crazy dream to some bad shrimp he had. Then he sees a pumpkin at the door, and we start hearing some pretty familiar laughter. And then it turns out the second ghost here is the Joker, and here he's sitting by the fire and having tied up Alfred. And so this would be the ghost of Christmas Present if we're following along with Christmas Carol rules. Batman grabs the poker and tries to smash Joker, but it just kind of phases through him as he's just sort of an apparition here. And so then out on the lawn of Wayne Manor, Joker shows Batman these 3 trick-or-treaters that are scared to approach the house. Apparently Wayne Manor is considered a haunted house by local children, and that just some crazy, scary old man lives in it. So maybe not as poignant a lesson as the Poison Ivy one was, but again, something for him to kind of consider how the public perceives Bruce Wayne at this point. Then we have a third ghost showing up here. And so this would be the ghost of Christmas Future. And so we see like a more dilapidated Wayne Manor, and Bruce is screaming as to where Alfred is. Then they look out onto the cemetery, and Alfred is there at Bruce Wayne's grave. So Batman turns around to the ghost who, resembles the Grim Reaper or Death. And then they take their hood off, and it's a, Batman mask on the skeleton here. Again, not the first time that this image has been used, but again, it's pretty poignant still. It's a good sort of image to use. And then, Bruce is lamenting here, for all the good that Batman does, have I left nothing for myself? Is it too late to change? Again, pretty much directly referencing A Christmas Carol. And so then we have the next morning, where Bruce is still talking to the last spirit, and Alfred is waking him up. And again, pretty much directly from Christmas Carol, Bruce is asking what day it is, and Alfred's telling him why it's Halloween. So again, not Christmas as in the original story, but again, sort of a Batman take on A Christmas Carol, where apparently Bruce has now learned the true meaning of Halloween, I guess. Yeah, I'm not really sure. But then we see Bruce telling Alfred to get a hold of Lucius Fox and have him come over. So they have a meeting now at Wayne Manor, and so they decide to start the Wayne Foundation. So again, this is a Legends of the Dark Knight story. So this is sort of early days of Batman. So this is like in his past, as this was currently released. And so we're kind of seeing the origin of the Wayne Foundation here and how that came about. And I don't know that that was really talked about too much pre-crisis. So it's kind of neat having like a post-crisis origin for that. And so the story wraps up here, Halloween night, where Bruce is handing out candy to trick-or-treaters who are now, excited to come to the manor. And Alfred even mentions that they've never had this many lights on at once in the house. So we've got, Bruce feeling better off here, more human, again, not sacrificing his sort of Bruce Wayne identity for Batman. And again, usually a story that when we do get it isn't told as well as this is. Usually so much of Batman is wanting to do away with his real identity and just sort of live as Batman. So it's kind of nice having a Bruce Wayne story here when that side of the character is largely neglected anymore. We'll get some token Bruce Wayne subplots now and then and things like that, but I feel like this is a pretty good Bruce Wayne-centric story that we don't get too much of anymore. So yeah, looking back on this now, I would really like to hear how Jeph Loeb pitched this story of it's Batman Christmas Carol, but it's set at Halloween. So yeah, it'd be really interesting to hear what the initial idea for this was. Again, so this is the third of the Halloween specials that Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale produced before they worked on The Long Halloween. Again, classic Batman story. If you haven't read that, definitely read that. If you want to read this, it is available on the DC Universe Infinite app, and it is part of the Haunted Night collection, I think is what they're calling it now. So it's the early Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale stuff, pre-Long Halloween. So yeah, that's there. And again, there's a couple other stories they did like this too. The Legends of the Dark Knight Halloween special, and then another one called Madness. So yeah, they're all worth reading. Again, if you've read Long Halloween and you want more Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale, and unfortunately we're not going to get that anymore since Tim Sale passed away a few years ago. But yeah, these are all worth reading. You know, now's definitely the time of year to check them out. So yeah, have you read these? Do you have a favorite Batman Halloween story? Let me know in the comments below. And thanks for watching, and have a happy Halloween. If you'd like to follow me on social media, I'm on Twitter/X at Detective651, also on Instagram at Detective651. Be sure to check out my t-shirt store at tpublic.com/user/Detective651. I've got a lot of nerdy designs on there, and there's sales all the time, so check it out frequently.